They throw their weight around, they behave a certain way, they go around the world a certain way, swinging their cock, and that's okay because they do it. When you swing your cock on their face, now they have a fucking problem, and they will decapitate your cock until you don't ever fucking even dare to do that. That's the hypocritical nature. Yo, what's Gucci, guys? So today we're going to be talking about practical guide to Enneagram 8's self-growth or growth, right? If you have a spouse or maybe a boyfriend, girlfriend, friend who you think is an 8 core, maybe you are an 8 core who is a non-cosplayer, this might be very useful for you to understand it in depth, right? I've taken this, I've understood it because obviously I've circle jerked this type. It's about, it's my type. I've read a lot about it. I have friends who are this type, and I've seen this advice help them, right? So I think this is going to be beneficial to many people, maybe even people who are not 8s, who are still trying to understand how growth works. You need to understand something, this misconception about growth and health, that it's just something that you have and you lack any of the negative qualities. You will not lack negative qualities, okay? You will not. Those negative qualities will always be part of who you are. They're just negated. You're just, again, trying to develop better habits, trying to develop better responses. That's all health is. Controlling yourself and controlling those impulses, or even controlling your responses, right? It's very difficult, but it must be done. It's a daily battle. It's a daily fucking battle. And you're put in a situation where you have two choices. Either you respond in a way that will lead to a healthy response, or you respond in your usual way. Maybe if you're a 5 core, you respond to the situation by withdrawing from the world, maybe even though you shouldn't. Maybe the right thing in this situation would be for you to engage in the world, or maybe even confront the world, but you don't do it. It feels uncomfortable. It feels difficult. So you do what feels most natural. Maybe if you're an 8 core, you're put in such a situation and you respond with hostility. You respond with arrogance. You respond with aggression. It's easy. It feels natural. I mean, it's impulsive. Your body takes you. Of course. It's the right thing. It feels right. It just feels so fucking correct. It's not. To be good, you have to be bad. There's no such thing as fucking good without the bad. To be healthy, you have to go through unhealthy phases. You have to. Because if I just see you and you're a person who's just healthy, they did not experience anything unhealthy, and you've been on this planet for 25 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, something is wrong with your Enneagram type. You are probably not looking at the right type. You have to practice every day. Every day is a struggle. Every day is a fucking battle. It just becomes easier to pick the right response to situations over time. You'll still fuck up. I fuck up all the time. Probably the foundation of everything as an 8 core is changing your environment. Step number motherfucking 1. If you put yourself in a bad environment, in a negative environment where maybe your natural attributes are very much respected or very much even demanded, in a sense, this situation will bring them out. You are putting yourself in a situation that is going to lead you to showcase those traits even further. Maybe you're in an environment that is very competitive, very hostile, and you are Enneagram 8. Those traits will naturally pop up. Those traits will naturally be even further honed in the environment. Avoid negativity and embrace positivity. Good people, okay? I'm saying good people with strong principles and strong values, right? Strong values in life, strong values in themselves, who have good intentions, who are not some degenerates. You don't want that either. Some of them might be very compassionate, very maybe even sensitive, maybe vulnerable. Some of them might be. You need people who will call you out on your bullshit. Simple as. You need people who will be like, yo, you've went too far. You've went way too far. Stop. Okay? That was not the right thing to do. You fucked up. You shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have said what you said. It was crossing the line. You need someone to hold you accountable when you are stepping this line that you yourself don't even fucking see. Step number 2, weakness and perception of weakness. Now, the 8 does not tolerate weakness in other people and in itself. Now, this is just a big fucking cope, okay? Because the reason why the 8 can be so fucking diminishing of others' weaknesses, and again, very brutal about them sometimes, especially when they're not healthy, is because of that. Is because of their own internal repression of those weaknesses and repression of this vulnerability. You remove it so deeply out of your psyche that that's just a coping mechanism. You tend to see it in others, and when you see it in others, you want to crush it. And this starts with your perception of the whole strong and weak, tough and weak. It comes with understanding that life's not that simple. That's difficult. That will come with age. That's not as simple. The world is not as simple as strong and weak. Not only that, strong and weak varies. There are so many different things to it. And that is something you understand with nuance. That's something you understand over periods of life, over the periods of time in your life. Once you have a new environment, better environment, you will be able to witness people who might be a bit sensitive, sentimental, sensitive, vulnerable even, but at the same time they will have strong principles, they have strong values. They're gonna stand up for what the they believe in. They're gonna call you out. You cannot help but respect it. To you, they're like the strongest people. It's not as shallow as, well, yeah, he's tough, he's gonna do whatever the he wants to do. He's gonna go at anyone. He's not gonna be scared of anything. He's not fragile. He's not gonna be all sensitive when push comes to shove. It stops being this way. It becomes more nuanced, and that nuance is developed because of the people you are around. It's not about how you feel. It's about how you deal with it, right? It's not about how you feel, because all of them will feel a certain way. That's normal. Every human is scared. Every human gets scared. Every human feels this, whatever the it's normal. It's not a big fucking deal. What matters is how do they deal with those fucking feelings. You need to understand that other people are not like you. And this goes for every type. Okay? If you're one core, you have to stop being a cunt and think every motherfucker out there is like you. Circle fucking jerking on the daily. None of them give a fuck the way you do. Don't project your standards or expectations on other people. And I don't mean one core type of expectations. I mean, don't expect them to handle situations the way you do. Don't expect them to be able to bear the stress of different situations, to be as maybe tough-minded, or to be as maybe fearless in some situations. I'm not gonna expect a fucking little fruitcake poet to go in the middle and start fucking throwing hands. I'm not gonna expect that. Because that don't make any sense. The shit that bothers them might not bother you. That doesn't mean that their problem is less important. That doesn't mean that what the fuck they're going through is less important. It might be as important. To them, it is important. Third point is narcissism, arrogance, and humility. This is probably one of the things I try to work on. I struggle with this sometimes. You need to understand what the fuck you really are. An egoistical who is narcissistic often doesn't think about rights of other people. You think about your own shit. You think about your own path. You might even delude yourself. Okay, you might delude yourself that that's not true. Really self-reflect on that a bit. Or ask other people the shit that you do that maybe you don't see because you're blind to it. Acknowledge that trait that you tend to maybe put people down, or you tend to show an air of superiority. Change your approach to the situation. Like, understand, okay, who the am I at the end of the day? You have to ask yourself this question, like, because inherently you're the shit, right? Inherently you don't give a fuck. You feel like you can take on the world. This is ego. This is just pure ego talking, okay? You're just one of the many. There are people tougher than you. There are many tough guys. There's many tough guys. I can go, to many areas. Tough guys everywhere. Yeah, you're smart. People are smarter. People are better. People are this. People are that. So what the fuck? And life will humble you. Life will kind of humble you and make you understand that you're human. It will make you understand you have limitations. It will. Things will happen. Situations will happen to you. Hardships are gonna happen, and you will gonna get a bit of a wake-up call. For me, all of the tendencies are still there. They're just way less. They're just not as common. I treat my friends equally. I give them respect. I never make them feel lower than they are. I always try to elevate them in some type of way. So I know I'm not bad at that. Although I also know I'm an arrogant prick. Okay, I'm an arrogant prick who I probably come across as a arrogant jerk off. And that's the reality. That's the truth. I can come across as that. It's not because I think I'm special. It's not like there's some intellectual process. It's a weird inherent thing that just happens and shows itself in my behavior. Realize your hypocrisy. This is brutal, okay? 8 core is a hypocritical type. And Naranjo talks about it. It's unfortunate because 8s do really put a lot of value and stock on, saying it how it is, calling spade a spade. But reality is a lot of it is just misguided self-righteousness and fucking delusion. Funny, but they might be hypocrites because, they think what they did was right. What they did was just. What they did was correct. What they did, what the fucking person was asking for it. They don't see the hypocrisy of their own actions. Now, how do we stop this hypocrisy? Having people who hold you accountable is very good. And they can ask you one question which will fuck you up. What would you feel? What would you do if this happened to you? If someone did the same thing to me, I would not be motherfucking pleased. In fact, that would be a problem. And that's the hypocritical nature of the 8. They throw their weight around, they behave a certain way, they go around the world a certain way, swinging their cock, and that's okay because they do it. When you swing your cock on their face, now they have a fucking problem. And they will decapitate your cock until you don't ever fucking even dare to do that. That's the hypocritical nature. Realize you have this tendency. The last step would be channel your energy and your will into something prosocial or something that benefits you in some fruitful way. As you as a competitive and willful individual, you are a person who needs to feel alive. You are a person who needs to feel a challenge of sorts, to take things on, to go against things, to conquer things, to win things. Like you need to feel like you're going up against something. You're challenging yourself in some type of way. You feel alive and you want that. So channel all of this energy into something positive. It can be, again, as an 8 core, we're very physical. So my advice would be always hit the fucking gym, work out, go train martial arts, Muay Thai, boxing, BJJ, whatever the fuck you want to do. Also engage and channel all of this in your projects, in your work, in your things that you have passion for, in your hobbies. So anyway, guys, that's it for today. If you guys have any advice for Enneagram 8s that might be beneficial to them, make sure to comment down below. I'm bouncing. Ciao.